Alright, what's up, family? Let's do this video here entitled it one simple, very important word, and that's accountability. And we talk about accountability, that means being responsible for your actions, being able to take constructive criticism to make you better. Being able to get the job done. Being able to be someone to count on you, to know if we're dealing with this person, you can take it to the bank. You can count on them, right? Accountability. So when we talk about accountability, like I said, is that you? Is that someone who you're dealing with? Someone who you're working with? Or are you the type of person that make excuses? We all too often sometimes we're dealing with people where you want to be dealing with a person that's accountable for their actions, but definitely not someone who always, because we all dealt with this before, right? Instead of them being accountable, they'll push it off on someone else so they don't have to be accountable. You understand what I'm saying? They'd say something like, hey man, well, I did my job, man. If they didn't do this, that's on them. No. Your name is still on that paperwork. You know what I'm saying? So you can't keep pushing it off on someone else, acting like, well, I did my part. No. If your name on it, you hold some of that weight of not being accountable as well. So like I said, accountability is being responsible. Get the job done. That could be you, that could be co-workers, that could be family members, anyone who you're dealing with, right? Speaking of that, let me give you some real life stories of accountability, because we all have them, right? It was some point in life where we all weren't accountable, rather when you was a kid or adult, whatever the case, right? But it's a great thing when you mature, you go, nah, I'm not gonna be irresponsible. I'm gonna be accountable. I did something wrong. Let me take action and be responsible and get it right. And accept my fate as far as I gotta admit that I was wrong about something. I gotta admit that I didn't complete something, to complete the task. Now I know to get it right? Anyway, watch this. Let me give you a real life story. Back in the days, when my two daughters was, let's say, 12 and 9, around that age, 12 and 9, they was heavily into sports, softball, basketball, volleyball, all that stuff. And I was that father that always said, man, I'm gonna be a greater father than my father was to me, because my father was an absentee father. We all got those stories, right? That's another story. But anyway, so it didn't matter how many long hours I worked. When I came home, me and my daughter, she had a big game coming up this week. We put in practice in the driveway, in the backyard, across the street at the park. We put in lots of work. I always promised them, I will guarantee I will make y'all the best players on that team in the town. It's gonna put a lot of work in. And that's what I did. So we used to be across the street a lot, practicing early Saturday and Sunday mornings. Yeah, they used to be clowning me, talking about, man, Daddy think this the military. I used to have them up 6 o'clock in the morning, and we was running drills. We used to go to other towns, run drills and all that. But one of our main spots was in our suburban area, nice, clean, peaceful, calm area with a nice park right across the street from us that the city grounds, they kept it clean. Watch this, it's got to do with accountability. Now remember, my daughter's about 12 and 9, they're 3 years apart. On this particular day, we sitting on the porch, we ain't doing practice today, and we look across the street, there's a whole bunch of kids across the street playing on the basketball court, and they got 2 coaches out there with them. And I pull my binoculars out, I look, I know one of the coaches, he's from my old town back in Elizabeth. So I go across the street, hey, what's up, man? Good to see you, man. But as I go across the street, I'm kind of bothered, because I go across the street, I see bottles, trash on the court, around the court, and all this, and I'm like, yo, what's up with it? So I pick up a few and I throw it in the garbage. But then I go speak to him, say, what's up? Good to see you, man. He tell me he coaching this and that. So I pick up a few bottles, and that's that. Now on another day comes by, we look across the street, we go another early morning, we go across the street to play, do our practice. And it's a day after that those people left, that they don't live there, and they come in there making a mess. Now I had a policy that I will always do with my kids. This is our neighborhood. This is the part we play. This is where we pay our taxes. This is where we live. People know us here. So when we would go across the street on another day after that crew of people that don't live there, riddle it with more trash. We went there to practice, and it's trash all on the court. So I told my daughters, let's pick up all this trash. And of course, right away, they got upset with me. And they was like, yeah, but Daddy, this ain't our mess. Why we got to pick? I said, because it's your neighborhood. Be a reflection of your neighborhood. That's why. I said in the meeting, and they was really upset with me. Yeah, but we shouldn't, them people did all this. We shouldn't have to be picking this up. I said, look, for now, we are going to pick it up because our neighborhood. We want to keep our neighborhood nice and clean, peaceful. I said, but I will promise y'all this. I will be accountable for what y'all doing here. I will definitely make it my job. The next time I see them out here, I'm coming over here personally, and I'm going to tell them they need to rectify that nonsense. And of course, you know, we cleaned it all up. I remember I had another neighbor, he used to do that too. We used to do it together sometimes. And sometimes they would write stuff on the playground stuff, and he had his sons repainting sometimes. You know, you take care of your neighborhood, right? And sure enough, it was a few days later, that same group of people was back. And I looked across the street, and I know that park was clean just the other day, even early that morning before they came. And now that they there, I seen them with I seen them throwing the bottle around. And guess what? There's a garbage can right on the edge by the playground bench. There's another garbage can right by the play area for the kids to play. There's a third garbage can right outside the gate. So there's no excuse for y'all throwing stuff all on the ground. It's inconsiderateness, right? So now I go over there. They was running drills. I brought my daughters with me. I went right in the middle of the court while they was running drills. I said, whoa, hey, listen. It's, yo, mommy, we running drills. I said, nah, y'all got to stop this. I said, I need to say something to y'all. They was like, yo, man, but we running drill, man, you missing. I said, listen. I said, just want to let y'all know. And I spoke to the dude that I knew. I said, yo, listen, I had to speak to y'all because I said, listen, see that house over there? That's our house. That's where we live. I said, now, last time I came over here, y'all riddled this place with garbage. There's a garbage can right there. There's another one right there. And there's another one outside the gate. So once again, like I said, that's our house right there. This is a nice park. We come here to practice all the time. And the coach was like, yo, come on, yo, June, man. But yo, he said, yo, man, we can talk about it. I said, nah. We're going to talk about it now. I said, and these are my two daughters right here. I said, we practice here all the time. I said, and this park is always clean. And whenever it's not clean, I make them pick this up. I said, but we seen you guys literally throwing stuff all over. And I said, and coach, you the adult here. You got to have some accountability about your players. I said, look, he said, come man. I said, no. You the adult here. You need to tell them. I said, look, I had my daughters pick up all y'all trash last time. He said, yeah, man, but some of us, I said, no, I seen y'all specifically throwing stuff down. I said, look at the fella right there. I just seen him sitting on the bench right next to the garbage can, and he threw it on the court. I said, listen, the last thing I want to do is call the authorities and have them here, and y'all won't be allowed over here no more. See, it's a reason y'all come 2, 3, 4 towns over to come to this park, because it's nice, it's clean, it's peaceful. Y'all ain't in y'all town, because y'all know it's all broken up concrete. It's nonsense everywhere. It's broken up concrete. There's drug paraphernalia all on the ground. There's spray paint. The rims are broken. They missing, and all kind of nonsense. So y'all come way over here. I said, so like I said, we live right there. These are my daughters. There's no reason we should be picking up all y'all mess. All of y'all should be accountable for your actions. If you're going to come to this playground and play, leave it clean the way you got it, like our parents do. And then, you know, I brought my man who I knew. I said, yo, my man, this ain't me trying to be talking down on y'all or nothing. I hope y'all appreciate being here. I said, but if y'all don't clean up this stuff, because this is not my daughter's or my job to be picking up y'all mess when y'all doing this spiteful. I said, if y'all don't clean up this mess, the last thing I want to do is call the authorities. But if y'all push me to that, I will. Because we can't allow y'all to be coming to our neighborhood purposely destroying it. Have some accountability. And with doing so, have some pride in yourself. That when people see y'all, and I was addressing all the young men, when people see you, they respect you. But they don't look down on you because you're destroying stuff. And slowly but surely, one by one, they was getting up, picking up stuff. Then the coach, then he yelled at them all. He said, hey, all of y'all, pick up all that stuff. Matter of fact, go over there in the court. And they was like, yo, but coach, we didn't do it. He said, I don't care. Go over, he's right. Y'all go pick up all that stuff. And from now on, don't be throwing I said, yo, that's respect. See? Now that's accountable. If I never said nothing, even the coach, he ain't had no problem with letting them just demoralize the place. You get what I'm saying? Remember what accountability means: to get the job done, to be responsible, able to take constructive criticism to make you better. See, but that's what I had to do. And you know, of course, then my daughters, as we walk back across the street, there's like, yeah, Dad, because we're getting tired of picking up this stuff. I was like, yeah, but see, these are the actions you gotta, even us, we had to be accountable by going over there and addressing an obvious situation to make it better. We didn't go over there to bully or to start some stuff, but to make it better, right? And that's what we did. And sure enough, they cleaned it up, and we seen them there the following week. And when we was taking our walk around the neighborhood, the coach waved, and one or two of the kids waved. Wasn't no trash on the floor, on the ground, rather. But see, that's accountability. That's what you need to do with people sometimes. But when you're dealing with family members and other friends, sometimes you have to be, sometimes you should always be accountable. Be accountable how you carry yourself, how you speak. Remember, words are powerful. Be careful of certain things you say and how they come out your mouth, because it makes someone think one thing when it's something else. You know what I'm saying? But be accountable. Don't always make excuses when you didn't get the job done and you want to push it off on someone else. No, be responsible. I'm going to give you another one, because I know a lot of y'all got a lot of stories about accountability, right? Give me some of your stories in the comments, and I'm definitely gonna respond back, because I know some of the stories y'all got will blow people's minds, right? I'm gonna give you another one about accountability. I remember a couple of years ago, me and my wife, a while ago, right? About a year ago, maybe two. Like I said, a couple of years ago. We was at a restaurant. We went for lunch, which we barely go out, because we barely go. I don't really trust too many restaurants. But anyway, this day we went out for lunch. And the waitress we had, she was on her A game. She was checking on us constantly. Not only that, she came by and had a conversation with us, which was cool. And then she left, she came back and was having another conversation. We had such a long conversation with her constantly, to the point I reached out a piece of paper and I said, hey, listen, I want to do you a favor. I said, look, I wrote down my YouTube channel. And I wrote down a particular video specifically for her. It's right here. Called Waiters and Waitresses. And I told her about how she's doing such a wonderful job, and you can rest assured I'm definitely leaving you a good tip. I said, see, some other waiters and waitresses could learn a thing or two from you, because I said, you've been coming checking on us constantly, and you holding small little conversations with us, which is very enlightening. It's very wonderful. So I wrote down my YouTube channel, and I gave her the specific video, and I gave it to her. I said, check this out whenever you get time. You know what she told me? She said, oh, okay, yeah. She said, I'll watch it when I get time. Now, we know what that means. When someone say, she said, she said, I'll watch it when I get time. I'm gonna watch it later. Whenever somebody say, I'll do it later, I'll watch it later, or we're gonna try to make it, those are people that's BSing you. And you think about it, did you BS that person? If you didn't BS them, there should be no reason they BSing you, because they don't have accountability. If you had integrity with them, they should have accountability with you. Be responsible, right? So anyway, I gave her the video in the YouTube channel. She said, I'm gonna watch it later when I get time. I just let it ride. I already knew she ain't gonna watch it, because that's a common thing people say when they BS you. So anyway, our meal was over. She brought us the bill. The bill was only like $51 or something like that, right? It was lunch. So I paid the bill, gave her the money, let her pay the bill, and then I left her a $25 tip, because the girl was constantly on her A game. So I gave her more than half of what, I gave her like half, if not more than what the bill was actually. I gave her a lovely tip. Do you know, after I gave her that tip, she was so happy. She left, she was so smiling from ear to ear. And then she came back to us with a card, and she said, hey, listen, you guys have been wonderful. You probably my best customers I had all day. She said, listen, if you guys could do me a small favor, gave me a card. And she said, listen, if you could fill this, she said, when you get home, could you fill this out on the internet? It's a survey for our restaurant, and tell them just how good I was today, and that way it'll help me as an employee here. It'll help me. And before I could say another word, my wife reached across, she's like, you know, like when you drive in the car and you slam on the brake, you go like this to stop the person in the passenger seat. We all did that, right? We're like, ah! And before I could say another word, that's what my wife did to me. She was like, blocked me off. And she didn't put her hand on my mouth, but my wife spoke for me. She said, when the lady said, could you guys fill out this survey? It'll make me look good in the business, this and that. My wife was like, she said, hey, listen, yes, that'll be no problem. We would love to fill out your survey. But I tell you what, when you watch our video first and leave a comment, then we'll leave a comment on your survey for you. You see, my wife was making the lady be what? Accountable. And when my wife said that, do you know the lady stood back and laughed? You know that silly laugh. It's a survival apparatus. Remember that video? The lady laughed and then she said, I see what y'all doing. I see what y'all doing. She said, well, I tell you what, I'm going to definitely watch y'all video. Okay, you got me. You got me. She said, I'm going to watch y'all video as soon as I get time. And guess what? The rest of that day went by, she didn't watch it. The next week went by, she didn't watch it. The next week went, the reason I know she didn't watch it because she's supposed to watch it, leave me a comment. Yo, weeks went by, she didn't watch it. I said, see, and my wife said, see what I'm saying, babe? Make people accountable. Don't be so quick to help people out, do something for them that benefit them when you ask them first and they ain't coming. Wait for them to do something for you because you always helping people with their stuff. Wait for people to help you, then you can help them. It wasn't until about a month and a half, all of a sudden I got an alert early in the morning and the girl left a comment. Left a very nice comment too. And I appreciate it. And when she left that comment, I responded right back to her comment right away. And not only that, at the end of her comment, I said, her comment, I left something to the degree, I don't remember exactly. It was something, I said, wow, I really appreciate you watching the video. I said, just like you said you was, it is greatly appreciated. And once again, like we said in the restaurant that day to you, you did a wonderful job. Other waitresses could learn a thing or two from you. You did an excellent job. We'll definitely be back soon because you did such a great job. And on another note, P.S., I'm going to your restaurant's website right now as I get off this comment, and I'm going to leave you a great comment on the survey for you. You can guarantee I will do it. You will get it probably in the next minute or two. And that's exactly what I did because I was showing how I was accountable, having accountability. And that's exactly what that went on the site. Boom, left it. You see? Sometimes that's what you got to do with people. Don't be so quick to do something for them, especially when they got a history of making excuses and always just come up short all the time. And then they want to push it off on somebody else. Well, I did my job. You know, if this person ain't doing it, no. Your name is still on that. So you hold part of the blame. Remember, it kind of reminded me of the movie. Remember the movie Terminal List? Remember, babe? The guy, they killed his wife and his daughter. And when he was going through doing all his research, finding out who all was part of it. Remember the one guy he went to, that guy only signed paperwork. But he signed paperwork with a guy that was crooked doing dirty stuff where he knew the guy was doing dirty stuff, but he signed off on it. And remember when he got in his house, just before he killed him, the guy was like, I had nothing to do with your wife and daughter get killed. He said, yeah, but you was part of it. You was part of it, boy. He said, yeah, but all I did was, he said, but you knew everything about it and you did nothing. So you got to hold some accountability. And just as he was saying that, he put the needle in his arm. Like, yeah, you going, all them people, y'all are the reason my wife and daughter got killed. Oh, I'm going after every last one of you. I'm going to make all of y'all accountable. Because remember the other lady said, we're going to get them locked up. He said, nah, the people that did this, they're not going to jail. I love that when he said that. They're not going to jail. I'm going to make sure they don't go to jail. But you know what he meant by that. I'm going to put them down. Yeah, and that's how it is with a lot of people. Make people accountable. People love to push it off on somebody else. People love to make excuses. People will test the waters with you to see just how much you're going to tolerate and listen to their lies and their excuses. And if you fall for it, they feel like, oh, I'm going to just keep telling them bull jump. But what they won't do is have accountability. And those are the type of people you got to just get the heck away from. Peace.